Hey guys, Justin here with Steinmetz Family Farm, and I'm going to answer some questions to you about how easy is it to take care of goats. We do baby goat snuggling, kind of like a petting zoo. We go around and let people socialize with our goats. One of the main reasons our goats are so social is a lot of them are bottle fed. Secondly, they are interacted with a lot. So let's start off by answering your questions about how easy is it to take care of goats. If you're crazy like me and you have hundreds of goats, you're up for a big challenge. The amount of food and medical care, hoof trimming, and general mucking of stalls or picking up poop is amplified by hundreds. So having 2 or 3 goats is really very easy to take care of. If you want a social goat, go with a bottle baby goat, not a dam raised goat. A dam raised goat will learn behaviors from their mom to be scared of humans, to run away from humans, because that's their job. Mom's protecting the baby goats. A bottle baby will, on the other hand, associate you with food. It's very hard to do this while I have goats crawling on me. Breed is important because a Nigerian dwarf goat is smaller than a lot of other breeds. Don't be fooled by saying pygmy goats are the smallest goats in the world. A pygmy goat is still going to be 50 or 60 pounds. They are actually a meat goat, and their body mass will get much larger, but their legs will stay shorter. So a Nigerian dwarf is going to give you a lighter weight goat, a little bit taller, but with way more color variation. Both types of goats can be bottle fed or dam raised. You can still get a social goat when you spend more time with it. So breed is important. Try to stay away from a Boer goat, an Alpine, or a much larger breed goat. They're also going to eat a lot more. So let's talk about their diet. What do they need to eat? Goats eat hay. That's it. They eat hay. If you have an adult, mature goat, all they need is hay. 100% of their diet can be orchard grass, second cutting orchard grass. It's good quality hay. It has enough energy for them to grow, survive. However, treats are always something that they like. So giving them animal crackers or Cheerios or things like that are a good way for them to associate you with food as they grow up and keep them friendly. Now, if you have a weaker goat, a smaller goat, a baby goat, I do suggest always giving them grains. Pregnant goats as well, so they get some sort of grains, but you want to keep it at a minimal. Especially a goat that's never had grains, you don't want to overload them with grains. They can get a thing called bloat, and they will quickly go downhill. There's a lot of Facebook groups out there where you can learn about goat husbandry. There's people on their forums that post frequently that will give you advice, and you can post your questions there to ask for help and get quick answers from the internet. So you want to make sure that you have the ability to have the goats at your house, at your place. Now, some people ask if they can keep their goats indoors. Well, technically, yes. Technically, goats can live in your house. They are just considered a pet at that point. But you have to be very careful as soon as you want to make them an outdoor animal. They are then considered livestock. In most jurisdictions, local regulations have rules regarding livestock in your area. So you want to look at the website for your local township rules to see if livestock's allowed and to see what are the requirements needed to have livestock on your property. Because even a baby goat that weighs 20 pounds is still considered large animal. It's still considered livestock. So there will be specific rules. Make sure you follow the rules of your township and regulation, because the worst thing that could happen is you're going to have to take your goat to auction, and then you have no idea where it's going to go after that. Keeping goats inside the house is not recommended. Goats do not potty train well. You cannot teach a goat to go to the bathroom inside of a litter box. Poop just falls out of them as they walk around. That's just what happens. They're a little more conscious about when they urinate, but still, it's not the place for a goat inside the house. You also have to remember, goats need to go in pairs. They're very social creatures, so they will bond with one another. If a goat is by itself, it technically could get very ill because what will happen is they'll stress themselves out to the point that they don't want to eat anymore, and their immune system will drop. Once their immune systems drop, they're susceptible to a lot of things. I would suggest for first-time goat owners to get an adult goat. Adult goats' immune systems are already going to be fully formed. They're going to be very healthy. Their body score and body mass is going to be great. And you're not going to have to worry about bottle feeding. You're not going to have to worry about antibiotics for pneumonia. You're not going to have to worry about parasite resistance. Younger goats are more susceptible to all types of parasites. Now, the problem is, parasites are everywhere. No matter which goat you get, there's things like coccidia, there's tapeworms, and a myriad of other types of parasites that goats can get. An older goat or a mature goat that's over a year, they're not considered full grown until about a year and a half. But a full grown goat is going to have the body mass and the immune system to handle a normal parasite load. Does that mean you don't ever have to deworm your goats? No. You should only deworm your goats when the FAMACHA is low. The FAMACHA is an eye test. You actually peel the eyelid back and you look at the redness inside of the eyelid, and there's a chart, and the chart will tell you when it's time to deworm. If it's a low, pale white color, that means the goat is anemic and their red blood cells aren't being kept up with because some sort of internal or external parasite is attacking the goat. So your basic goat care would be to obviously look at the FAMACHA frequently. Feel the goat's body score. If your goat is feeling nice and sturdy and heavy and continuing to grow or maintaining, then you know something, you know everything's good. If your goat is losing weight, acting weird, standing in the corner, there's probably something wrong. It's very important not to ignore the behaviors of a goat when they're acting off. You want to make sure you jump on that right away. Things that you should keep on hand when you have a goat farm is a thermometer. A thermometer is the #1 thing I think you should keep on hand as a goat owner. Because if your goat is sick and you check their temperature, you're going to be able to find out a lot just by the temperature. A goat's normal temperature range is 101.5 to 103.5. Nice and warm and cuddly for winter months. However, as soon as you notice a goat is going downhill and you check their temperature and you notice that it's a high temperature, they are fighting some infection. So therefore, it's good to have some antibiotics on hand. Unfortunately, antibiotics were outlawed in the United States for over-the-counter use with livestock, and so now you need an RX from your vet. If you have a good relationship with your vet, you could be able to keep a couple types of bottles of antibiotics on hand to take care of different types of infections that they're fighting off. Now, if you check the temperature and it's the other direction, it's low, that means their body is shutting down. Their stomach, their first stomach is a rumen, okay? And that creates heat. If their rumen is not functioning properly and it's not composting like it should, it's not going to create the natural heat and maintain the body temperature that it's supposed to have. So most likely their rumen is shutting down, and from there other parts of the body can shut down as well. So if you notice you have a goat with a temperature below 101.5, you should find heat immediately. Heat blankets, heat lamps, you can wrap them up. It's important to note you should not feed a goat with a temperature below 100 degrees. They cannot process anything you put in them. So once it's at 100, you can then try to get them to consume milk. Your goat's hooves are going to need to be trimmed at least 4 or 5 times a year. Goat with long hooves that haven't been taken care of in a while, the nerve endings can grow to the end of the hoof and carry out, and then it can be very difficult to keep up with the hoof trimmings because you're always hitting a nerve at the end of the hoof. So we need to recap. You don't want them in your house. You want to make sure that your local township allows livestock. You want to make sure that you provide good quality orchard grass hay, fresh water, keep some medical supplies on hand, pick a smaller breed goat if you're interested in the social interaction. It's very difficult to have a large goat that's very friendly because he's going to be knocking children over all the time. Hoof trimming and vaccines. Vaccines are very simple, something you can still get over the counter at Tractor Supply. It's called C.D.&T. Basically takes care of the overeating disease and tetanus. That is just once a year. If you have an established goat from an established farm, they should be up to date on their CDT shot, and all you have to do is a once a year maintenance by yourself, which is very simple to do because you can get the syringe and you can get the vaccine at Tractor Supply, and you stick it in just stick it in under the skin. It's very simple. Maybe I'll do a video update on how to inject a goat with their CDT shot. This is one of our newest goats that we got yesterday. She's a baby fainter goat. Fainting goats are, well, exactly what they say. They faint when they get scared. Guys, I want you to never buy a goat simply for the fact of entertaining yourself because they faint. It's a fact that they do faint and there's nothing you can really do about it, but I wouldn't suggest purchasing a fainting goat for entertainment purposes. If you're gonna love and care for them and never try to make them faint on purpose and you're a pet lover, I'd say go for it. All in all, I can tell you keeping goats is actually not that hard if you don't overwhelm yourself with too many of them. They have a decent shelter, 3 sides, a deep amount of straw in the winter time, a place to forage and graze in the summertime, free choice hay all year long, and don't get yourself a baby goat that requires constant maintenance unless it's going to be your full-time job like it is mine. Goats will provide you years of happiness and joy. They can live anywhere from 14 to 19 years. Now, selecting your goat, choosing what type of goats to get should be for another video. We can go down the rabbit hole on weathered goats, males and females, specific breeds that are best for you, bottle babies, not bottle babies, what's entailed with a bottle baby. There's a whole lot of things that you could learn, but as a basic goat owner, you don't need to know everything. If you know the basics about food, shelter, love, and vaccines, then you should be fine. So I hope that answers a couple questions on how hard is it to take care of goats. And on a score of 1 to 10, if you had 2 goats and the proper place to keep them, I'd say taking care of goats is only a 2. It's only rated a 2. It's not very difficult. Isn't she adorable? Oh, my knees hurt.